What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the last week. This last week has been a busy one. We've got a lot of new topics, a lot of free trucks going out, and just a number of things popping up around the internet. So let's jump into this week's topics. First of all, Traxxas is releasing a white version of the TRX-6, the 6x6 G-Wagon that they released not so long ago in black and gray. Now we finish it off with a white model. No changes to this model other than a new color. They did put out a number of cool product shots with that white TRX-6 in the snow. Definitely made for some cool photos. Go check them out, or if you're interested in it, I'll put links to that product in the description below. Next, we saw a sneak peek of some Capra axles from Vanquish products. This was an early sneak peek, and this was something that got posted on social media, but obviously I've got a little bit of insight into this. Now, these axles are not just a complete stock replacement. There's actually a number of changes, including increased caster for better steering, both 3 and 4 link handling, as well as off-centered pumpkin. Now, off-centered pumpkin means that the center section where the ring and pinion go is shifted off to one side. This is for scale looks as well as better performance. Official information and release date on these axles hasn't been given yet, but keep an eye out, and of course you'll see an update on them in the Scale News Update as soon as we get closer to the real date. Horizon Hobbies is showing no longer available for one of the Losi Super Baja rays. Now, if you're not familiar with this is their large-scale desert truck styled rig. A really cool truck, and I've seen a number of people who have these rigs and really like them. But perhaps they weren't all that received in the market as far as actual sales numbers, because a ready-to-run version is one of the last ones I would have figured they would have shown as no longer available. Now, there are 2 ready-to-run versions, but they're basically just 2 different colors, like a green one and a red or orange one or something like that. And they show that the green one is no longer available. So not sure what's going on, why they would just discontinue one. Maybe they're just trying to trim that line down and only reorder one SKU. Or maybe they are going to get rid of the RTR side and only offer the bind and drive side that they have. Maybe at that higher price point, those buyers already have radios and they found that to be more popular. Hard to say. Definitely one to keep an eye on to see if it has any effect on the Super Rock Ray as well. I know that abandoning a product line isn't necessarily a big change in a market like Horizon has, but in the end, it doesn't seem like that long, and it was a complete tool up of an all new car, so it would still surprise me. A number of weeks or possibly even months ago, we saw some prototypes of an independent front suspension kit for an Axial SCX-10-2. And now we're finally seeing some pictures of a finished product installed in a vehicle and actually functioning. Kind of. It's on a bench and it's getting kind of pushed around. It's not actually driving or anything like that, but it does give you a fairly decent or realistic looking independent front suspension kit for your SCX-10-2. Looks like it keeps it really narrow to fit underneath of some popular bodies. Whether or not this is a viable option for a lot of people, the performance on the rocks is definitely going to suffer. It's not going to be anywhere near as good as a solid axle. The steering is likely also going to suffer. It's still probably not going to handle at high speeds either. So really what you're looking at is something to fit just a scale build to fit the style. You're looking to replicate something that has an IFS by putting an IFS under there. Beyond that, I don't think that this kit will have a lot of functionality that's going to be an improvement or an upgrade to the SCX-10-2 in any other way. I don't know that the high-speed handling even would necessarily be any better, even though independent front suspension is normally better. This just has really short arms rather than the long travel suspension that you could say that the solid axle version of the SCX-10-2 does. But in the end, I think that that's not the overall goal for this. I think it's for the style, and for that, I'd say that they pulled it off. The only information I have on this is what is shown on their Facebook page, so I'll link that in the description below. You can go check out their page and see what they're offering if you'd like. Next, we've got a release from Mad NGH, and this is just a very simple but very nicely designed front bracket for a VS410 chassis. Allows you to fit batteries, speed controls, receivers, or just a number of different things that he's shown in a number of different configurations in the front of a VS410 chassis. VS410 chassis is something that you can build standalone. You can build with SCX-10-2 axles. I've done it with Traxxas TRX-4 axles and Enduro axles. So it's a pretty flexible chassis. This may fit a number of different styles models or builds if you're looking to clean something up and get things out from underneath the center of the body. If you're interested, again, links in the description below. Then we've got a new body release from JConcepts. This is called the JCI Creep. And it's kind of a new body, but it's also kind of just their old Megatruck body, but with more of a traditional bed made. I used their Megatruck body on an actual scale truck build not too long ago, kind of built it in this same shape. So I think in general, it can be a pretty good looking body. Hopefully it's better than the product photos that they put up though. I don't know if it's just the paint or the window tint trim that they put on there or what it is, but it's just not a real convincing or good looking setup that they put on there. Not sure what it is. I have faith that that body can look pretty good. I like the style of that kind of Willys truck body. You know, the Creep name, you know, I guess they could say like you're kind of creeping on the rocks or crawling. I don't know where they came up with it, but you know. They wrote a nice little kind of fictional tale in the beginning of the product description. If you want a fun little read, go check that out. But with that, I'm sure this body will be sold wherever JConcepts bodies are sold, so go check your local dealers or, of course, links in the description. Then circling back on a story from last week, Redcat has finally given us some details on this new version of the Gen 8 that they're releasing, and this one is going to be called the Axe Edition. Now, the Axe Edition isn't just because they axed the top of this thing, but because it's coming with a Hobbywing axe system. Along with that Hobbywing system, it's also coming with a FlySky radio as well as a reef servo. The body is now topless, as we saw some peaks or renderings at. We saw that it has an interior and a molded cage, no more blacked out windows like the original body. I think that that will be a nice improvement over the previous one. It does look like there's a few other changes to the truck. Looks like there's some steel gears either in the transmission or the transfer case, possibly both, not 100% sure there. We haven't really seen full details. We kind of have by this press sheet that they put out, but everything that I found, it's been the lowest resolution press release sheet that I've found. It's just super grainy. You can barely make out what it's saying, and I just have not been able to find the full resolution version. I assume that we'll see it on Redcat's site officially before long, but to this point, it's not on their website or their official Facebook page. Now, with the addition of these new parts, they took out the original Hobbywing ESC and they went to this Axe brushless system. I do believe that this is a first trail truck or crawler to come with a brushless system factory. Pretty interesting, you know, kind of a cool move in that way. The Hobbywing Axe system has never been one that I've been all that fond with. I always just felt that it's been too low on power for what it's supposed to compare to. It's a little stally and it takes out the feel of driving. But some people do like the feel, so, you know, there's opinions both ways, of course. It will now come with a servo that's supposed to be stronger, as well as a radio that's got a bunch of auxiliary channels for options that you could add in the future. Now, with all of those things, the cost is obviously going to go up. I've heard all kinds of rumors from $450 to $600, and I don't know where it's actually going to fall. It seems like at $450, it would be a really good deal. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the Gen 8, specifically the axles and steering, suspension geometry area of the vehicle. But at $450, that's a pretty decent deal overall. At the mid ground, say $525, I would kind of expect it to be in that range, plus or minus 10 or 15 bucks. And I think that that's fairly fair for where that would be. I think at that, compared to with some of the other rigs on the market, I would continue to choose other rigs. But I think that that's most likely a fair price for what they're bundling together to give you. Now, if it gets up to that $600 mark, it seems like that's just going to be way too much money for a Gen 8. And I don't know if trying to bundle all of these nicer components into one package and then trying to sell that with the existing platform that they had was the right move or not. That's something that you guys, the buyers, will have to figure out and have to, you know, voice your opinion on with your wallets. Is that what you're going to spend $600 on? Are you going to spend $525 on it? What if it's $450? You know, it will be a really interesting question, and since it's the first time someone in the crawler market has stepped up and done that, put that type of thing out there for somebody to buy in a ready to run format, it could really show what the market will support. So on that side of it, a gutsy move by Redcat that I definitely respect and I'm anxious to see the results of. Just today, I saw that the dates for the team KNK TTC 7 have officially been announced, and that will be June 5th, 6th, and 7th in or near around Lebanon, Ohio. So if you've wanted to go to a big event and you're further towards the right side of the country than you are to the left side, then there's an option for a great event near you. Was at it last year, had a great time, hope to make it back this year. Definitely worth the trip out there. I'll link to the Facebook group where most of that is organized. You can go check it out there. And lastly, free trucks for everybody. Capra ready to runs just by the truckload. Going out to anybody who happened to find the deal on Tower Hobbies for the combo kit that included a dynamite charger, lipo bag, and charging cable. And if you got those 4 things, which totaled around $87, then you got a Capra RTR for free. Yes. Little glitch in the Tower Hobbies system messed up and allowed you to get free Capra RTRs with just this minimal cost of entry. If you don't know the math, that's around a $380 savings by spending that and getting these dynamite items. Now, if you're not familiar with Tower Hobbies and their batting average for screwing things up to this point, Tower Hobbies has been responsible for leaking a number of new product launches way too early. Just with Axial in general, they put out catalogs in print months before products were ready to be just even released to the media, let alone to the actual public. The Bomber, I think the Yeti Jr. was that way. They almost always have new releases up on the website that earlier the day or the day before even official information has come out from Axial. They have a habit of just screwing things up for just a nice, efficient release, and just really can take the wind out of the sails of actual decent marketing plans. And so so now this is where, of course, everything gets very, very interesting. It was a deal that was posted up near the biggest deals time of the year. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever other wacky name you want to put with the day of the week. People were looking for deals. Now, obviously, there's no way that you can't assume that with prices that insane, that there wasn't some, you get that text message from a buddy. Look at this insane deal on towerhobbies.com. Do you see it and say, they messed up, I'm ordering 10? Do you see it and go, I'll order 1 just to try it? Or do you see it and say, this is an obvious mess up, this is not going to happen, I'm just going to move on? Do you have this moral debate in your head that it's a mix up and it's wrong, or it's on there and it's a deal? Which way do you choose? I can tell you that enough people were on the side of the fence that are saying, let's try this out, that they sold out of all of the ready-to-run Capras that they had in stock. Now, initially, I think this was found on Saturday, and I think due to the time of year and that this is the busiest sales time for retail online shopping, that I think that they had a shipping crew in there on Saturday and Sunday, because these things shipped, a lot of them shipped on Sunday. They're shipping to people. Some people in the local California area around Ontario, where Horizon's warehouse is, got them today. So what's going on? I don't know. I do have a few friends over there still. They weren't necessarily aware of this situation until this morning, Monday, when they walked into the office. There's been a number of debates around the Facebook groups that this was posted to about whether or not it was something that was right to do or wrong to do, or something that just obviously you take advantage of if, they post this amazing deal. Then there was, of course, the people that would doubt that these things ever would leave the facility, because Tower Hobbies does have a statement on their website saying that to protect themselves from inadvertent errors like this, that they have the right to cancel or reject orders based on it, which is something that companies of this size are always going to have. It's completely expected. So at this point, we've just got a lot of questions up in the air. One, is there going to be a lot of inexpensive Capra RTRs up for sale in the Facebook groups soon? Are people going to get the shipments before Horizon recalls them all? Is Horizon going to actually put out an official statement of this? At this point, we've seen just a bunch of like screenshots of messages and things like that. Nothing official. You have no idea where or if, who's actually giving these responses in, Facebook messages or emails. You don't know. At some point, we're gonna have to see something official likely, or everybody who ordered these is gonna get some sort of email message saying that something. I have no idea. No idea, and it's absolutely just a huge mess up. So what are your thoughts on this? What would you have done if you got that message from your buddy saying, jump on this deal while it lasts? Do you warm up that PayPal buy it now button, or do you Scout's honor not take advantage of it? I will be very interested to hear all of the different takes that you guys have on this one, because it's made for some good reading over the last 24 to 48 hours. With that one, guys, thanks for watching the Scale News Update. We've had a good handful of weeks here. Definitely looking forward to rolling into the rest of the winter and spring as the market's really picking up. Again, thanks as always. I appreciate all of you guys who take the time to watch these videos, leave your comments, like, subscribe, the whole deal. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.